Hello, this is going to be my Chain Burn deck list. So first off is the monsters. First we have one Lava Golem. This is just for in game 1 in case there's any problem monsters such as Interior Beast or Bokion. And I only play one because it can get cloggy because you really want to have traps in this deck. Next up, 2 Marshmallowon because they're just a nice card to set and it does 1000 bird damage, 1/8 of their life points. Next up is 3 Maxi. You can play Maxi in this deck because you can chain them to traps since it's a quick effect, and it will help build up a chain. And also the card is really needed in this format with Dragon Rulers and such. Next up is 1 Morphing Jar, because it's a card that just helps replenish your hand if you don't get any of your draw power cards, and just set all of your burn and then Morphing Jar. Next up, 2 Swift Scarecrow, just hand trap to stop your opponent from attacking, just in case you don't draw any of the traps that actually do stop your opponent from attacking. Right, next up would be spells. 2 Change Strike. One of the only burn spell cards in the deck. Actually, it is the only burn spell card in the deck. And you just chant the end of your chain on the middle if you need to build up a channeling for accumulated fortune, and it will burn 400 times whatever chain the link it is. Next up is 1 Day Piece. It just is a nice card to help get cards and burn. You play this, draw a card, your opponent draws the card, set all of your draw power cards, your opponent's turn they can't do damage, and you just draw a whole lot. Next up is 2 Power Dualities, because this deck is one of those decks that can use it since you will never special summon. The only card in this deck that can actually special summon is Lava Golem, and I only play one, so yeah, these will never be dead. Next up, 2 Accumulated Fortune. It's one of the best draw power cards for the deck. It's a Reckless that you can only activate as Chain Link 4, but you don't have to skip your draw phase. So I only play 2 because 3 can get kind of cloggy. I've opened hands with 2 Accumulated, and I would never want to open up with triple Accumulated. I've gotten that back when I played this deck, and it was just bad. Next up, a single Ceasefire. Just with all the spammable monsters with Dragon Rulers, this card just burns for a lot. It can go for 2,000 and 2,500, and sometimes even 3,000 if I sit one of my monsters. Next up, 3 Jaws. Just a simple draw 1. It's a 1/1 trap just to build up chains. Next up, probably the best burn card of the deck. 3 Justice Earths, 500 damage for every monster you control. They have 5 monsters and you have 3 of these, that's 7,500 damage. That is basically game. Next up, 3 Yadas. Same thing as Jar of Greed, except if your opponent has a spirit monster, you go +1 off of these. That's never happened to me, but it will eventually. Next up, 3 Magic Cylinders, a nice burn card, but I have a tendency to side these out just because they a lot of decks just pop back up before they attack, so these become a bit less valuable in game 2 and 3, especially with cards like Decree that they side in. I prefer to side these out for cards that destroy them, like MST and Heavy Storm. Next up, 2 Odama Trio. They're really good if you get these in your opening hand, going first. They can be kind of bad because your opponent can get 3 monsters out and you just won't be able to activate these, and they'll just be stuck in your hand. This is also why I side this card out too, just because since monsters get special summon way quickly in this format, it just doesn't become as usable as it was in the past. Next up, 3 Reckless. One of the best draw power cards. This card's a automatic +1, but in all reality, if you have 3 of them, it's basically a +5, just because you will only be skipping 2 draw phases instead of 6, so it just works out really well. Next up, 3 Secret Barrel. This is one of the last burn cards of the deck. It burns 200 for every card inside the field and hand on your opponent's side, and it has a if you activate in response to your opponent's first draw, they will do 1,200 damage, which is 1/8. So that's almost like if you played all 3 of these, that would be almost half the life points right there. And finally, for my traps, I have my 3 threatening lures, just a chainable that stops my opponent from attacking. Now onto the side deck. My first side deck is DD Crow, because once again you can chain these in your chain link to build up chains in hand. One effect there. I don't waste that there that often. It's just there in case I ever really do need it for something. Next up, 2 creature swap, because I play a few small monsters, and I can just take their big one and just crash into it and deal some damage by attacking, because normally after games 2 and 3 and they realize what I'm playing, they really won't be setting as much. Therefore I can just play this and deal some damage quickly. Next up, the 1 heavy, just to get rid of stuff like Decree or Trap Stun, rather than like Chain Trap Stun. It just forces the activation on the Trap Stun. Next up, double MST, once again just to get rid of stuff like whatever it's called, Decree and Trap Stun. Now on to my traps for my side deck. I play 2 Compulses, just because of another chainable card that just returns its hand. Works really well against stuff like Draco Sack, just like summon it, okay, bounce back. And then finally, I side in 3 Macros Cosmos. It does not hurt the deck at all, since Swift Scarecrow can be used under Macros Cosmos. And that would be my complete Chainburn deck. The only thing that's left is my 5 tokens. I just used a photo geometry. My 5 Spanish normal monsters. Amazing, aren't they? Yeah, and that will conclude my Chainburn deck profile.